Tonight, it is an up-close and personal look into the life of Alaskan Senator Ted Stevens. Now, you might be wondering, in this interview, will he respond or talk about the current FBI investigation surrounding him? The answer, quite simply, is no. For months, Stevens has responded the same way when the topic has come up.
And don't complicate this issue with trying to say something that could be misunderstood. And if it was misunderstood, you'd suddenly find yourself charged with obstruction of justice.
Now, as a station, it was never our intention with this interview to ask questions about the current FBI investigation involving Senator Stevens. We knew what that answer would be, and we were told what that answer would be. So we moved on. Instead, our goal is to show you a side of the senator we never get to see. Who is this man who has served our state for so many decades? There is a lot of curiosity about the person behind the politician. Tonight, we're inside his Girdwood home, asking questions about his life, his family, and his mistakes.
I build a fire, come in and have a Coke, or if it's not an election period, have a glass of wine. Once in a while, smoke a cigar. Just do my own thing.
Senator Ted Stevens eases into his Alaskan routine like a small child grateful to be home. He's here roughly 25 nights a year.
Now there, and listen to that one.
After watching him scan the refrigerator, we can't help but begin with one of the senator's favorite topics, food.
I have a piece of chocolate every morning.
Every morning?
Every morning.
Wow.
Dark chocolate. I get fetishes. I don't eat white potatoes, and I don't eat things that got white sugar in them. And I just get hooked on stories I hear and things I read, and so I love sweet potatoes. And I just sometimes she cooks something and I don't eat it, and she says, you're a nutritional terrorist. That's all.
A nutritional terrorist who can throw a mean punch.
I got them. They put a punching bag in the Senate gym for me. I think I'm the only one that hits it.
How do you stay in such great shape?
I lie a lot. I tell people I don't eat things I do eat. No, seriously. I exercise every morning, but that's where I lie. Like sometimes I'm so tired when I get up I don't do it. But I eat right.
To really understand where the longest-serving senator in the history of the Republican Party is coming from, you have to first realize where he's been. Born in 1923, he grew up in the heart of the Depression, raised by his grandmother in a modest home in Indiana with no income. After going to school in California and Massachusetts, Stevens moved to Fairbanks with his first wife and quickly realized he'd found home. It would be his second wife, Catherine, who fell in love with Girdwood.
And Catherine liked it down here, so we just decided this is a place to get away. And this is a place where it's just like old Alaska. When I first came to Alaska, you knew everyone in the block.
Throughout the journey, he's been guided by values instilled at an early age. The importance of a strong work ethic, the value of a dollar, and the power of love and connection.
For both of us, second marriage, and so we had a good marriage. But I think the older I get, the more I realize how dependent I am on her, and I love her even more.
Other loves, spy novels, and flying. During World War II, he joined the Army Air Corps and flew support missions for the Flying Tigers of the 14th Air Force. Politics wasn't even on the radar.
I wanted to be a pilot, and the war came along, and I was a pilot. I was studying aeronautical engineering. I would have paid him to let me fly. I just loved to fly. Still like to fly. I got my float plane license when I was, after all my children were grown and in college and whatnot. Finally went back and got it when I was 75.
The man who loves to fly has never owned his own plane. Not really a loss when you consider this airport is his. What is it like to fly into your own airport?
I didn't expect that. Some people think I expected it. I didn't expect that. It's an honor, but it's hard to swallow.
There have been countless honors in his more than 6 decades serving this state. The Magnuson-Stevens Act that essentially restructured how our fisheries are managed is a piece of legislation that gives him tremendous pride.
That bill affected Alaska more than anywhere. We now manage our fisheries scientifically, There's not one endangered species that's harvested for commercial purposes. We have protected the reproductive capability of our fish. We're the envy of the world, really, in terms of the capabilities of our fishing industry.
Speaking of envy, walking through the hallways of his Girdwood home is like walking through an intricate Alaskan museum with the Founding Father as the guide. From handmade rawhide snowshoes, wildlife snapshots, ships, masks, and then, my personal favorite, the Ted Stevens totem.
And she made that, and when I was the majority leader of the State House. And that's my totem. That's me up there.
As we make our way upstairs, private and personal memories are around every corner. Moments that have shaped Stevens as a senator, but more importantly, as a father.
Are you a good father?
No, I really wasn't. I think I spent a lot of time trying to do the things I thought I ought to do as a senator, and I didn't go to enough baseball games and football games with my boys, and enough of the soccer games with the girls. I tried.
Now a grandfather to 11, he is back in the game, doing what he can for his grandchildren. Ben Stevens' son, little Teddy, affectionately called Airport, takes pride knowing his grandpa is finally home watching.
And I really get disturbed that I don't spend enough time doing the things I ought to do for myself and my family. I get really upset about that. I do have 11 grandchildren, and I see most of them once a year. I'm lucky if I see him once a year sometimes.
Stevens says he has the best job in the world, even if it's come at a price. Just last week, we watched as the 84-year-old filed for re-election for the 7th time. He says he has no intention of slowing down.
The research physician was saying that the human body was really meant to live at least 120 years. They really believed in the biblical concepts of 120 years is entirely possible. He says, it's what you do to your body that you don't live 120 years. And I said, I take pretty good care of mine. And this one guy says, my God, you're not going to sail around that long, are you?
There's no denying the road ahead will be long for many reasons. Alaskans are increasingly demanding more from the people they put into office. They are demands that take a toll across party lines, and yes, even on this face of Alaskan politics. Naturally, I had to ask.
When was the last time you cried?
Oh, I know. I think it's getting real personal now, but I cry when I see a sick baby. And when I see things I cannot change.
Coming up tomorrow night on CBS 11 News at 10, Senator Stevens talks politics, from ANWR to the debate over listing the polar bear as endangered, why he says extreme environmentalists are killing this state, and yes, those much talked about earmarks.
McCain's wrong in that. Even the president's wrong on that. But it is a common thing right now to make people think, look, if we take care of earmarks, if we eliminate earmarks, we won't have deficits. Wrong. Has nothing to do with deficits. And earmarks are just a current political fad, is my opinion.
You will hear more on his surprising remark issue, his frustration over the current plan for a natural gas pipeline, and his strong message to Alaskan voters who have lost their faith in politics. You can see part 2 of our exclusive interview with Senator Ted Stevens tomorrow night right here on CBS 11 News at 10.